Um, we've mentioned Mussar a couple times, and tell us a little bit about what attracted you to Mussar, other than it was delicious, which of course it is. But what is it about the integrity, and what was it about the people that got you excited about Mussar? And then tell us a little bit about the wine that we're gonna focus on this afternoon.
Yeah, so I mentioned that I got into it when I was in college, and I'm a history major, right? So I got my degree in, the way I attack learning about anything is by reading tons and spending tons of time studying, because I may have not always gotten the best grades, but I'm pretty decent at studying. So I took out all the wine books I could find, and I kept on going to California, and you're like, okay, yeah, then France and Bordeaux, Burgundy, Champagne, blah, blah, and then it's like Lebanon, and then there's a huge picture of Serge Hochar.
Right.
Oh, okay, well, let's read about this guy. And of course, I'd read Thomas Friedman's book about Beirut just right before that, and I knew all about the Civil War and kind of not all about it, but I've had an understanding of what happened, right? So I'm like, all right, so this guy made wine all through the Civil War in Lebanon. I mean, that was a nightmare.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
Like there's this long history of winemaking throughout this whole time period, in like 6,000 years of wine in Lebanon. Who knew? And I'm like, and then literally like the next day I went to a wine shop in Missoula, Montana, and I found a bottle of 1991 Chateau Mussar Rouge. And so like, it's that combination, and I fortunately ended up working and doing a number of events with Serge before he passed away. And there was no one else like him. He was the most optimistic person I've ever met. He believed so much in wine and the power of wine, but not only that, believed so much in self-belief and what that can manifest. And for yourself and in the world, if you have positivity and self-belief together. And really the wines that he crafted in the most horrible of circumstances, quite frankly, are some of the best wines I've tasted in my life. And I think it's because it's that combination. Of course, I mean, at this point, I've tasted almost everything from 1961 to 2013 of the Chateau Rouge and then the Chateau Blanc. But there's a certain energy about the wines that I have not tasted in other wines. And I think it's part of the philosophy of Serge. He's like the father of natural winemaking, all organic viticulture, minimal amounts of sulfur. And I'm not like Mr. Natural Wine. I like natural wine if they're made well, right? And Serge, the best natural winemakers like Adi Badenhorst and Serge, they know how to make the most commercial wine possible, because they went to school and they learned how to do that, and they know all about cellar management, and they know about keeping clean cellars, and you know what I mean? All the things, like I have family members who are in the cheese business, and if when you make cheese, you have to have a really like incredibly insanely clean cheese room, so you can no matter how natural, like if you're doing raw milk, whatever, like even more reason to make sure that you get bacteria, things like that in there. All right, so I totally went down a rabbit hole, and I'm sorry.
No, please. That's what we're here for.
So yeah, but that's the thing. Like with Mussar, there's a certain genuineness, and there's just a beauty to it. And the Hochar wine that we're featuring with you guys is a single vineyard wine. They started in 1989, and the winery goes back to 1930. And they're in the vineyards of the Bekaa Valley. So the vineyards in the Bekaa are between 3,000 and 5,000 feet in elevation. And Lebanon itself is a mountain country. So you go from the Mediterranean Sea up 10,000 feet right away, and then back down to the Bekaa Valley, then up almost 10,000 feet again in the anti-Lebanon range. So yeah, this is the only wine they have that has Grenache. And the vines here are 60 plus years old, Cabernet Sauvignon, Grenache, and Cinsault, aged in French oak for 12 months. And it's a beautiful wine. It often gets overlooked because there's the Jaune line, which are that were made kind of every day, but delicious. and then there's the Chateau wines, and the Hochar. I mean, if you love Southern Rhone, if you love Brunello de Montalcino, it has qualities that you'll really love, I think.
Unfortunately, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there has been some bad news recently. If I understand correctly, they had some wine that was in the port in Beirut
Yeah,
a few months ago during the catastrophic explosion.
We were able, finally, we didn't think we were going to have any more Chateau Mussar until next year. And put things in perspective, in comparison to the immense amount of life that was lost that day.
Right, of course, right.
Nothing, right? But we were able to work on a shipment and get some wines from the UK. So we did end up getting some. It was just, I mean, that port is closed for a while, right? That explosion was horrific. I mean,
yeah, it was. In any other year, that would be a lead story. And this year, it kind of felt like that was on the news for about a day and a half, and then something else.
Well,
something else, literally.
And that's the thing too, and like a lot of people, I mean, I know everyone's asking for people to donate and give money to things, but we do forget about things so quickly, and there's a massive amounts of suffering going on in Lebanon right now. Hunger, they have rising COVID cases, not to sound depressing, and like tons of people, like thousands of people with no homes because of that explosion. So, and they already have like economic turmoil going on and all of that. So it's literally added insult to injury, the explosion.
Indeed.